Well, you know what time it is, right? It's Millennium County time. You gotta love it. Anyway, let me turn around over here. You just gotta spin around and get the light right. Anyway, we're gonna show you some, this will be another update. Did a few little things here and then one major thing, so without any further ado, we'll get right in on it, so stay tuned. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about some of the updates I'm doing. Now, one of the things I'm doing is I had these things around for a few years. I don't know if you can see them too well. They're fire hydrants. They're kind of cool. I've had them for about 3 years and never used them. I was going through some of my stuff the other day and I said, nah, you know what, I got fire hydrants, good. So I started planting some of them. And I'm going to go ahead and show you which ones I've done, so stay tuned because I'm going to pause to move the camera. Be right back. Alright, so here we are. And the first place we're going to do is the Amtrak station. Right in front of that guy with the white uniform on, there's a fire hydrant. And over to the right more, you'll see one right in that corner. Now, this camera sucks, so these pictures aren't as sharp as I'd like them to be, but yeah, I gotta make do with what I got. Eventually I may have to buy a new camera, a better one. It's one of those cheap Chinese ones. I mean, it does the job, but you know, yeah, so. So anyway, I got those two fire hydrants in, and let me pause again and reposition the camera, and I'll show you the other ones. There's the one at the school. Important to have a fire hydrant by the school in case the school catches fire. You know, those crazy kids. They're always setting fires. So we have a fire hydrant there. And let me pause again. There's going to be a lot of pausing here so I can reposition the camera. Hang on. There's one by the welding shop, which also services the Pepsi company. And if I pan over like so, and down a little bit, there's the other one in front of the ready gas, and I've got two more to show you, and that'll be it for the fire hydrants. Hang in there. And there's the one in front of the Dairy Queen Grill and Show, and over here, low down a little bit, there's the one in front of the Domino's Pizza. They're the only ones I've got planted right now, so yeah, that's it for the fire hydrants. I'm going to do more later on. Now the rest of the video is going to be basically about the turntable and the modifications and weathering I've done to that. Now, like I said, I have problems with my microphone. So I lost the audio on that segment, so I'm going to have to do a voiceover. So I'll do the best I can, explain to what I was doing, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute. Alright, so here's the turntable. We're going to do some weathering on it, planting some weeds, and maybe some gravel and some junk if I can. First we have to start by taking off the centerpiece, and we're going to tape up that hole because we don't want to get anything in there. That would not be good. So in a minute here I'll be putting the tape on eventually. I don't know why it's taking so long, but it is. Alright, here we go with the tape. Just gonna wrap it around there pretty good. Make sure nothing gets down in that center section where the contacts are. I'm sure that would mess things up if that got dirty or anything got in there. Now we're not gonna do any painting in the pit. I looked at other drawings of other pictures of other people's turntables, and they didn't seem to paint them. The only thing they did paint was like the side walls. Like, you know, it was runoff from water, rust, whatever. So we're going to do that at a later date. Of course, I blew everything out of there, any debris, with the compressed air. Now we're going to start putting some grass weeds in there, after making sure that the gear area there is cleaned out. It really has to be clean, which it is. So there's I have a grass mat or weed mat, whatever you want to call it. You just tear off what you want and glue pieces here and there and everywhere, and that's basically what I'm going to be doing. Unfortunately, they are not self-adhesive, so I'll have to glue them down, and I'll be using the white Elmer's glue, which is an all-around good glue for most things that you got to do. So I reach over there and grab that. Of course, nothing's ever close by. I have to go walking around for it. Alright, there we go. Now, the first time I put it on the grass itself, but later on I'm not going to. I'm just going to put it, right in the pit area, and then put the grass on top of it, as you'll soon see. Turn off pieces here and there. Big pieces, small pieces, no particular shape, you just tear them off. Yeah, I've got to get more of that stuff too. I really like it. It's handy to use. And probably a lot easier than the static grass. All the static grass is pretty cool too, but now I'm putting dots here and there. And that's where I'm going to put the grass patches or weed patches, tufts, whatever you want to call them. It's willy-nilly all over the place. There we go, we're putting them in place, pressing them in. So there's no particular pattern, just wherever I thought it looked good or wherever. So over time grass grows through even the concrete. It'll pop up and find its way through, and that's pretty much what happened here too. Plus I'm sure some dirt blew into there over the years. It's bound to happen. There's quite a bit of weed patches there, tough patches. I'm not sure what you'd really call that. A lot of stuff here that's pretty new to me, so I might not always get the terminology right, so just kind of bear with me. Probably tearing some pieces off of the rubber backing right now. It's just pretty slick the way they do that. So here we are. I've jumped ahead and did a little bit more off camera. Looks pretty good from here. I also threw some medium ballast in there. It looked like gravel. And I put a little bit more in there. And an old pallet, it's abandoned, it's all busted up. It was left in there. Now, realistically, that was not the smartest thing to do because that ballast was way too small and it got in the gear track in the pit, and consequently and I tried vacuuming it out, but that really didn't help. I actually had to physically take a screwdriver, which I didn't show, and pried the little bits out of the gear sections. I even tried the big shop vac, and that didn't work either. So there's a lesson there. If you're going to do anything, you probably should tape that up. The track area, so you don't get nothing in there. And also make sure you don't get anything in the gears that are on that center section, the turntable bridge itself. I had a lot of problems, and it took me over an hour to clean it up. And I don't know if you can see here, I'm going to put the bridge back on, and it's not going to work. Big mistake on my part. I guess you live and learn. I would have never thought that would have been an issue. And see, it just won't go. It's getting hung up. There's a little grit ballast that's getting stuck in the gears, both on the bridge itself and on the turntable. So, like I said, it took me almost an hour to clean that up. I had to dig out the little pieces of ballast with a micro screwdriver and then suck it out with a vacuum. I tried everything else and nothing else worked. So if you're going to do this, this is a good lesson for everybody in case you didn't know. Be very careful with, where you get your ballast at. Now ultimately I did get it cleaned up and it was working fine. I believe this is a segment. No, it wasn't. There was still some grit in there that I didn't get out. Another problem I had too, and I guess that's mostly on wall, you can see the grass bunching up underneath the bridge. That shouldn't have happened. They don't give you any clearance there. And that's only 6mm grass. Or no, I take that back, it's 4mm. And it was still catching the bottom of the bridge. So Walthers, if you're paying attention, make your pits a little deeper so we can put weeds and stuff in there. I even tried putting an engine on there thinking the weight was the problem. Of course it wasn't. So I wound up having to pick up a lot of that, those weed tufts, because they were getting caught up in the bridge, which was not fun. Like I said, you live and you learn. And they would believe me, it was all packed up under the bridge and everything else. It was a big mess. So I don't know how these other guys did. They must have used thinner grass, I guess. I don't know, but it's going to get stuck again here because, like I said, I hadn't cleaned it yet. Yeah, there it goes, see? And if you look really close, you can see the ballast is in the teeth in the pit area. And of course, there's a whole bunch in the gears on the bridge itself, so I had to clean those up. And that took a while. And it keeps getting stuck, so wound up taking it back off, cleaning it up. Had to remove a lot of the grass tufts that were bunched up both under the bridge and in the pit area. So, but I kept trying until I finally figured out that was the problem, and once I did, the problem was solved. So here we are back again. Finally got it all cleaned out. It's running smoothly now. It's still dragging some of the ballast around and some of the weed tufts. So I had to, make some allowances for that. But it is working now, and it's working fine. One of these days I gotta figure out how to program this thing either to stop at each of the tracks. They had instructions, but I tried it and it wasn't working, so I was obviously doing something wrong. So I'll have to tackle that again sometime. Otherwise I'll have to manually, key in the buttons. See, it's still dragging some of the tufts around, but I got it sorted out eventually, and it is working just fine. It's very important though, do not get any grit, dirt, or sand or anything on that track area of the pit or in the gears on the bridge itself. It will give you problems you don't want to have to deal with. So, but it is actually working fine now, and we'll go on to the next phase here in a minute. So, after pausing the camera for a while, I went ahead and finished the scenic detail. So you've got grass tufts all around on the outside, some trees, some boulders, some, I guess you'd like ragweed or bushes, things there. It looks so much nicer. It gives a little more definition to the area. And of course, you got the sand colored finish. I didn't put any sand down, and I still might. I don't know yet. And I throw bits and pieces of sand or dirt around the the grass tufts and the boulders and whatever. We'll have to see what happens with that. And I went ahead and tested the bridge again, and it's working just fine. It doesn't seem to be picking up any more of the grass tufts in there, so it was awful close though. Except for that one little piece that was sticking up. I'll have to re-glue that a little later, but so far it seems to be working. So the only thing really left to do is to weather the sidewalls of the pit area, and I'll do that at a later date. So that's all I've got for now. Like I said, don't worry if my lip movement and the sound is probably not working out too well. But here on my shirt I've got the new logo. It looks good. Kind of tough to see from this angle, but you can see it's Jim Tedesco on the top and Millennium County Railroad underneath. It's got a picture of the clock that I always say, what time it is. So thank you again, Drew. You did a great job on it. I'm real happy with it. And I just ordered some decal sheets. So pretty soon I'll be making decals, and I will send some to Dave at Crooked River and Eastern too. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Bye.